nothing ruins the appearance of a sharp set of wheels like nasty or corroded brake calipers. Now, POR-15 Caliper Painting Kit is a DIY system to help bring back your calipers to look new again. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to use the Caliper Painting Kit. The Caliper Painting Kit is going to come with a few components to it. Now, obviously, number one, the caliper paint. And today I'm using silver. The reason for that is the calipers on this Explorer were already treated silver, so I want to keep it consistent, and also the wheels are silver. But caliper paint is a personal preference of what color you use. At POR-15, we offer red, yellow, blue, black, and silver. So whatever color you want, it is totally your choice. Secondly, we have the rust preventative. Now, the rust preventative is gonna go on before the caliper paint, and what it will do is help stop rust that is happening or prevent rust that could possibly happen within your brake calipers. We also have metal prep, which is what we're gonna use before we get into painting. We also have the cleaner degreaser, which is the first thing we're gonna start with. But first, what we wanna do and what you wanna make sure to do is get the provided gloves on. Now, there are a couple extra things that you're gonna need before you get into the process of painting your calipers. One is masking tape, preferably painter's tape, and the other one is water, okay? This is the thing we're gonna use to flush off the cleaner and degreaser and the metal preps. Step one, remove your wheels, okay? Make sure you take your wheels off completely. And what I did, I'm doing both the front right now. So I have my car on jack stands. I took the wheels off, so my calipers and everything is exposed on the passenger and the driver's side of my car. Now, use the cleaner and degreaser to thoroughly clean the brake caliper. So we liberally spray this on here, and make sure you have a brush with you. You could use a toothbrush if you want. We have this sort of detailing brush today. So liberally spray this down. And we're gonna take this brush to really agitate any dirt or grime, brake dust, things like that. We're just thoroughly cleaning with the cleaner degreaser the best we can. Okay, once you've agitated with the brush and the cleaner degreaser, we take the water that we said you should have, and we're essentially gonna flood this thing to try to rinse off any of the cleaner degreaser. And what I like to do, actually, do one more round, just really quick. Spray it on there and agitate it again. Just cover my bases. Okay, after we're done rinsing off the caliper that we just cleaned, you're gonna take a towel and we're gonna dry this the best that we can. If you have a forced air unit like a Metro Vac, you can actually blow the water out of this and dry it a little bit quicker, but right now I'm just gonna use the towel. Okay, once you have the caliper dry, after the cleaner and degreaser, we go in and we use the metal prep. So this is something we spray on here. Now what we do is we let it stay wet for 20 minutes. Then we rinse it off, and then we get into masking off the areas that we don't want paint on. So 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes. Now it's time to rinse off the metal prep that we sprayed onto the caliper. So same thing, the water that we said you needed extra, we're just gonna flood the surface again. So it's about rinsing off the metal prep. Now you may be thinking, hey, those calipers don't look that bad, they're clean now. Well, they're super inconsistent. I want them to look perfect, and that's what this caliper painting kit is gonna do. And again, just dry them off with the towel. So the next step to this is masking off the areas that you do not want to have paint on them. But because this is still a little bit damp, I'm just gonna wait like 5 minutes until this dries thoroughly. Okay, it's dry, we're ready to start masking. Making sure you do this the right way is gonna ensure that you don't just have paint everywhere. So take your time with this, mask it off correctly. Moving on, we're gonna start with the rust preventative. Stir this thoroughly and you'll see it sort of gets to a darker charcoal color. And now we start painting the caliper. Now this is the primer, and this is I mean, it's doing two things. It's a primer and it's a rust preventative. The paint is self-leveling, so it's just a matter of getting it on the surface, and as it dries, the appearance is gonna flatten out and look better. We have the rust preventative on in the primer. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this dry, okay? We wanna get this to the point where when I touch it with my finger, it's a little tacky, but it's not removing paint from the surface. I would say here, we're in Colorado right now, and it's pretty mild weather. It's probably in the 70s and very dry. Here in about 2 hours, we'll be able to start painting it with the caliper paint. But you want it to dry to where when you touch it, it's just a little bit tacky. We're gonna wait here a couple hours, we'll come back, and then we'll get into painting the caliper. Okay, it's been about 2 hours and 10 minutes, and this is now sticky. It's not completely dry, but the paint's not coming off on my finger. So in a dry climate like this, it's not gonna cure as fast, okay? Humidity is sort of an accelerator when it comes to drying this rust preventative and actually the caliper paint as well. So one thing to note, POR-15 offers a paint accelerator. So if you are in a climate like Colorado, where we're at, and you need to expedite the time that this process takes, you can actually purchase separately a paint accelerator and add it to either the rust preventative or the caliper paint, and it will help the paint dry a lot faster. If you end up leaving this overnight and this paint cures all the way to the point where it's not sticky when you touch it, we recommend to scuff the surface before you put the caliper paint on, okay? This right now where it's sticky is ideal time for this to go on because they're gonna bond together. All right, set the lid aside. Now we're gonna start painting the caliper. And remember, this is self-leveling paint. Now, one thing I want to mention is the rust preventative and the brake caliper, it's resistant to heat up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is gonna look good for a very long time, okay? Looking really good. Now what we want to do, we want to let this sit overnight so the paint can fully dry. Then we'll get the wheels back on the car and we'll be good to go. It's been about 18 hours since we last put the coat of caliper paint onto the caliper. I went ahead and removed all of the masking, all of the painter's tape that we used, and as you can see, the caliper came out amazing. With the caliper paint, you want to let that dry completely overnight before you put the wheel back on and start driving it. My coverage was really good when it came to painting this, but look, if it didn't look good to me, looked uneven or maybe missed some stuff, I could still see some of the rust preventative or primer, I would do a second coat. But if I do a second coat, guess what? I gotta let it sit overnight again before I drive it. So when you get into this process of painting your calipers, make sure that you allot at least 2 days, if not 3, to complete this process. Now, POR-15 offers a lot of products for restoration projects. They also offer a ton of things for the DIY person, like the caliper painting kit. So I know for sure anybody can do this, and once you have your calipers painted, you're gonna notice them and you're gonna love it for years to come.